if you're like 18 to 23 years old, you haven't actually experienced life yet, because unfortunately your life has basically been stolen from you by the education system and the script that you're following when you live in like a hometown. So what you think life is not actually how life is. When you're young, you think life is waking up, getting ready whilst you're still sleep deprived, wearing like a uniform and a tie, like a nice little dog, like a collar, and then going out to your master's place, your the teachers or the work, the place. Going there, doing shit that you don't like, which is inefficient and ineffective, which is largely a waste of time compared to how quickly you could actually achieve the same result if you did so by yourself. You're surrounded by retards. Because of the fact that you're surrounded by so many people, you start getting feelings for a girl who's like a 5 or a 6 out of 10 just because she's the girl that you see all the time, not because she's actually a high quality woman. And then you come back home, you're super tired because you've just wasted the priority, like your life energy, on some bullshit that you didn't actually really want to sign up to, and you've got just about enough energy to go to the gym and maybe do like 1 hour of pathetic work, and you stay in your hometown, and then you go to sleep, and then you repeat that, and then on the weekends you can go to the gym and spend a few more hours on watching content that day. This is literally the reality of life for most people. This is what their schedule is like. This is what your schedule has been like for most of your life. The only difference is when you were younger, you spent more time once you came back home on dopamine, like porn and video games. About a week ago, I was driving back home after kickboxing. So I live in Bali. I have a bike which I drive, and then I go to the gym, and I come back and I work like on whatever schedule I want. So it's 5 a.m. right now. And as I was like pulling up, and there was this bike that went past me with a guy and his girlfriend or something on the back of it, and they looked like happy. It almost looked like they were like quite new to Bali, like kind of almost like tourists. And I just started to smile because I thought of my students inside of Adonis School, basically like my closest followers, who I'm like the closest to, who I've spoke a lot to, and 95% of them are still in the, let's call, the old life, which is that you live in your hometown, you live with your parents, you have to go to school or work, and life isn't terrible because now you're on self-improvement, you're not jacking off anymore, you're not playing video games anymore, you're reading, maybe you're meeting some guys on this path as well. Right now for you, maybe not, but like when you join my program, then there's hundreds of guys in here which are just like you. So the boys in my online school are becoming more social. They're living a pretty good life. But I thought of them because I was like, you know what? They're still not like experiencing real life, real freedom just yet. All of the guys here still have some bullshit that's hooking them to a central location, like with school or with work, or they haven't been able to make a few $1,000s a month so that they can actually move out of their parents' home with their laptop and go move to anywhere in the world that they actually feel is more right for them. I've traveled like not crazy amounts or anything, but what I'm about to tell you about my traveling experience and the places I've been to might be interesting, because if you watch a lot of my videos, you share a lot of the same values as me, which means that you don't share a lot of the same values as most people, because we are far more strict on ourselves than basically any other type of person out there, like bar monks and nuns or some shit, right? But like we're like quite a strict group of young men who are on a very particular path. It's not just that you can be friends with someone you meet in the gym, because when you meet a guy in the gym and you can lift together, you can lift weights together. The problem is he's still a retard degenerate in other areas. The same with like, we have a couple of guys in my online school who are in the military. They joined because they thought they'd meet like disciplined guys and join like this disciplined masculine culture. And then they say to me like, oh, it's terrible. Don't tell anyone to join. They're all Jeffries here. They're all playing Xbox. They're all lazy as fuck. So we're the kind of people who, we don't just want one discipline thing in our life, like just the gym, but rather like our life encompasses discipline. It's not just the gym, but the fact that we don't indulge in bullshit, the fact that we don't come back and play video games, that we want to grow an online business that doesn't just make money, like a lot of degenerates out there, like young men who would happily do an OnlyFans agency or some bullshit, crypto, whatever, to try and make money. We want to do it in a really purposeful way that actually helps people that we care about. What I'm saying is we are very, very particular and different kind of people to like everyone else, very different. So I've traveled around a fair amount and I've lived in different places. The reason why I chose Bali and the reason why I'm going to recommend it to you in the context of this video, which is, you know, the sort of topic is you haven't experienced life until X. X meaning a place where you are free, but also where you belong. I've been to US. I've been, Vegas. US is a big place, but, you know, Vegas and Austin. I've been to Scotland, London. I've been to Dubai, Thailand, those kinds of places. And Bali is the single best place where I felt like, holy shit, this is like very similar to my university experience, in the sense that it's just this hub of social experiences, of complete freedom, where when I was in university, it was like a weird thing where like it wasn't abnormal to be awake at 2 a.m. because, you know, it's just students being degenerates, right? And it also wasn't a weird thing to be awake at 5 a.m. and go into the library or anything, where it wasn't weird to walk past someone and randomly speak to them and become friends and to invite them to do something on the same day. It wasn't weird to just walk past the girl and end up like smashing her on the same, like literally an hour later. University, when you move out, is a very like extreme period of your life. And it's a good thing. Like, obviously there's degeneracy involved in that with like drugs and casual sex and stuff, but it's a good thing to have that kind of freedom. Just obviously we shouldn't be putting it into like pleasurable shit, but rather things that actually grow us. When you move out of your home and you make about, let's say minimum $2,000 a month online, and you can go to whatever country you want until you think, okay, Hamza's been hyping up Bali, I'll go over there. So you come over to Bali, you rent a motorbike, like one of the nice scooters, for like $100 a month. Your gym membership is about 100, 200. You've got unlimited classes with that. Your rent is like, let's say 800 for a pretty nice place. Maybe you and like 3 friends end up joining together to rent a villa for the month. We have got a bunch of guys in my online school who are doing that, which is linked below, by the way. If you want to make friends with guys on self-improvement, just join that, because it makes it so easy to make plans like this. We've got so many guys coming to Bali next year. So you join and you've got 3 guys you're living with in a villa, and your total expenses is like $1.6 thousand. You're literally living in a paradise island. You drive around on a bike, you go to the gym 3 times a day, and you live with 2 or 3 guys that you've vetted who you actually like. And it's kind of like this hype kind of, you know, experience of like, oh shit, like I'm moving in with the boys, like this is going to be exciting, it's going to be difficult, one motherfucker's not going to clean his dishes or some shit, but there's going to be so much life experience there, so much freedom. That is closer to what I would say is real life than anything you've experienced before. When you're chained to a certain location and you have to go to the school or work, and you have to work on their time, like when they tell you, okay, show up at 8 a.m. till 3 p.m. for school or 9 to 5 in work, you don't get to actually like feel out your own values and your own optimizations. Like I work, look, it's 5:30 a.m. I work first thing in the morning. If I was still a normal, pathetic guy, I would have to like basically be sleeping right now, wake up at like 7 or 8 and get to work and work on someone else's schedule, work next to retards that you don't actually like relate to, and just kind of suck it up and get it done. And I know guys with very low testosterone will comment something, which I see on Instagram every now and then, with like, oh, well, it's not that bad, don't listen to any of these influencers, whatever. It's so fucking easy to become an influencer these days. It's so easy to get like a few hundred subscribers, 1,000, 2,000 subscribers, start making $1,000 to $2,000 a month from like a little online business. In fact, my previous video just taught you step by step how to do that for free. So don't listen to any of these fucking morons who tell you like, oh, there's actually something, I don't know, humbling or, I don't know, prestigious or some stupid shit like that in this like modern, mundane, outdated lifestyle. Waking up, go to school or work, come back, try and date the 5 out of 10 who's in your class or in your workplace, go to the gym, okay, workout, come back, watch content, go to sleep, wake up, get ready, go to work or school, come back, scroll, message the girl again because she's not replied and you're feeling sad, then go to the gym, then come back and track your macros, then go to sleep, then wake up and then go to school or work, and then come back and then message that girl again, and then this time she wants to do a FaceTime call, so you're like, wow, that's going to be, free testosterone. So you go on a 1 hour call with her and realize now you don't have enough time to like do the full gym workout or maybe do the extra work you wanted to. But that's okay because you spoke to a female today, and that's like the height of life when you're living like the outdated lifestyle. For guys who are more ambitious, the life that I would prescribe to them is basically the exact life that I'm living right now, where you move over to a country that, or even an island that symbolizes more freedom. You make just a few $1,000s a month, nothing like crazy at all, but just enough that then you can live out in a very, very cheap way. What's interesting is where I live, there's so many people I know here who make like 2K a month, and they're like dirt poor, right? They're just like broke. But what's interesting is they actually are super, super happy, because a place like this, when you're broke as fuck, doesn't actually feel bad. Like, just compare two different scenarios, right? With the outdated life that I want to pull you away from and the new life that I want to take you to. And the scenario can be, what happens when your vehicle doesn't work? Let's say you wake up in your hometown and your car doesn't work when you need it to get to school or work. That feels fucking horrible. It's not like a situation that you're like, oh, I'm so grateful, you're smiling and stuff. You're like, fuck's sake, it's so annoying, I'm gonna be late again. You start like, it's cold when you get into the car, you're wearing your gay ass little jacket and stuff, and your legs are cold on the seat and shit like that. And you gotta call some fucking number or get your dad to come fix it, because dads are really good with this stuff, and it's just annoying, and you're late, and maybe you've got to go send it off to the shop or some shit. Your dad takes it there for you whilst you get like a taxi, or maybe your mum drops you off to work or school or something, and you find out your car's gonna need a $500 replacement or some shit like that, or $200 for the tires or whatever it is that's wrong. And it's just a horrible experience that you just had to go through. Now imagine the same concept, that your vehicle doesn't work here in Bali. You step out of your apartment in time for meeting your friends for coffee or some shit, because you do that basically every day here, or go into the martial arts class or whatever. You hop onto your motorbike, turn it on, and then the engine light's on and it doesn't really work. You call the guy who sold it to you. He just happens to be on his phone right away, and he's like, okay sir, no problem. And you're like, oh, okay, I think he's coming. And he just pulls up like 10 minutes later with like his wife and his kid on the back of the bike, on like this like fucking family of 7 on one bike. Comes up, fucks around with your bike a little bit, and it works, right? Or let's just say let's just make it worse. Let's say it takes him a while to show up, right? So you missed the first session. But whilst you're waiting outside, it's sunny. You're stood shirtless or with a vest, and there's some cute girl who walks past and she holds eye contact with you, because you live in the kind of place where that shit actually happens, where people just walk around and end up actually meeting each other. You end up just making friends by just existing here. It's very hard to not make friends here when you just spend a little bit of time outdoors, because of like, it's very similar to the university experience where people just walk around and they're so receptive. So even whilst you're having one of the worst days, which is where your bike's not working, and let's say the weather's not nice and it's in monsoon season and there's a bit of rain right now, and it's like, torrential rain like you get in like islands and in Asia, but you're already drenched, you're stood there shirtless, and it's like, it's oddly refreshing. And then again, there's a girl who walks past, or a group of guys who walk past, you end up noticing each other and you speak to them in the rain, and it's like you're in a fucking movie. It's like you're in like a literal dream movie, even on your worst day here. Do you see what I mean by like, you haven't lived life yet? All you've experienced is the life of basically like, kind of like a modern day slave, where your time has been taken from you. You don't get to choose your hours when you go to school or work. You don't get to choose where it is. You just have to fucking show up there every single day and take orders from a fucking retard. Like, most of your teachers in school, if you're still in school, they're all alcoholic little degenerate fucks. Honestly, like, well, once you date a couple of teachers, or maybe you smash a couple of teachers, then it makes you like look at the whole schooling system differently. Like, I could tell you some fucked up stories where I was like with some teachers, like once I was a grown man and I was like smashing through, and And yeah, it was just, it made me look at the education system so different. I was like, these motherfuckers are degenerates. They're massive alcoholics. And it made me think, half the days when my teachers came in, they were hungover. Like, most teachers are such alcoholics. A lot of them are like weird little rapists and everything as well. And that's where we had to go every single day or 5, 6 days a week. The same with work, when you're taking orders from like a fucking boss who smells like, whose breath smells like coffee or some shit. That's not real life. Like, that's like the fucking tutorial island. That's the loading screen for real life. Real life, if I had to break it down into some requirements for you to actually like take some practical action, I would say, even though it sounds a bit like cringe, whatever, but I would say online income is one of the most important parts. If you just make money online and you change nothing else, then your life is still pretty shit, I'm not gonna lie. You need to make money and basically use it wisely by basically moving to more of a free place. But yeah, once you start making a few thousand a month and you can afford to move over to a place like Bali, Thailand, Colombia, these kinds of places that are hyped up by young men who are traveling, you're gonna get a lot more freedom and there's a lot less bullshit that you have to deal with compared to like a normal job. Do I think there's no good jobs at all? No, of course not. There are some which are absolutely worth taking if that's like, purposeful for you. The problem is most young men don't have the purpose with any of those high level careers, and so they shouldn't consider them. It's like some fucking overworked little Indian kid who's been forced to be an engineer, and he's going to be a shit engineer because he doesn't actually want to be one, but he's just too much of a coward to look at his father in the face and say no. So he ends up becoming like a fucking D-class engineer, nothing special, and he makes like a pretty pretty mid-ass fucking wage, but he has to work 6 days a week in a place he fucking hates. You've got to understand that every dollar you make online in a business that you actually like is probably worth more like $50 made in a shitty job that you don't like. Think about that. Every dollar you make online in business that you actually like and find purposeful, that gives you time and location independence, is worth at least $10 to $50 in a job that you dislike. So if the option is between $2,000 online in a business like, for example, what I suggest, which is like a YouTube or social media channel, like a platform like TikTok or Twitter or YouTube or whatever, or Instagram Reels, and then you just sell something like a little information product, like sell an ebook or sell a little online course or something, not expensive, 20, 50, $100, for example. After a couple of months, you'll start making $50, $100 a month. Nothing crazy, like nothing at all, basically, like $50, $100 a month, right? But after about 6 months to about 1 year to 2 years, if you start right now, it's very realistic that you'll be making a pretty passive like 2 to 3K. I made that in 7 or 8 months of me starting YouTube with absolutely like no real experience beforehand, no good skills or anything like that. In fact, I came from a pretty bad place, like mentally and everything. And it took me about 7 months to get to my first £1,000 month. I got to like £1,500 in January 2021, and I started in May 2020. So about 7-8 months, I made like a livable wage. But the money I made, the £1,500 I was making, which was about the same as what I was getting paid in my full-time job before that, was completely different. Like, imagine the power of money. In both cases, I was making about £1,500 a month. When my this business here, was about 8 months in, and also when I was working a full-time job in like customer service, I was making the same amount of money. But what was the difference was that my essential hours were way less. Like, your essential hours in a 9 to 5 is 40 per week. But when I was working a full-time job, I actually worked 9 to 6 because there was an unpaid 1 hour lunch break. But not only that, when you have to get up at like fucking 7 to be able to get to the office at 9, you kind of have to include that time, because if you're waking up to go to work and you don't do anything else beforehand and you're getting ready, getting dressed, I think that's still like work hours, because you don't have to do that shit for like an online business most of the time. So imagine that lifestyle. I'm waking up. This is like 2019, right? But my first and only full-time job. I just grew a pair of balls and realized I'm not going to continue living like that. There's a lot of guys who'll find this like condescending and stuff instead of inspiring. They're just little pussies. I'm really hoping to attract like a good, mature audience here who are like, holy shit, that's one inspiring from Hamza actually, that he created such a pretty fucking good life for himself so quickly, and he realized through the bullshit that I maybe have struggled from. But yeah, just because every now and then I see people comment shit like, oh, 9 to 5s aren't that bad, bro, like shit like that. And yeah, so imagine that life, right? So it's 2019, I work full time, I wake up super early, but we'll just say 7 because I was also going to the gym beforehand, but we'll just say 7, right? I wake up at 7 to get to work at 9 because you wake up, takes like half an hour to get ready and everything. Maybe you want to eat beforehand, and then it's like a 45-minute commute, and you want to get there 10 minutes early or so. So in the end, it's like you woke up 2 hours before unpaid with a 45-minute commute unpaid. That should count as your work hours. So it's not like I was working 9 to 6. I was working more like 7 to 7, 12 hours, which just reduced how much per hour I was making if you actually like adjust the math. When I finished at 6, then it takes you a few minutes to walk out of the office, 45 minutes to get back home, an extra 10 minutes to like take off your clothes, shower, and kind of decompress, which I think we should actually put that part of like the sort of work hours you have. It was a 12-hour shift, but only paid for 8. That's the reality of like a 9 to 5 job that people don't tell you about. Like, the people who criticize like entrepreneurs and influencers and everything, they're just very stupid people. Don't ever listen to them. I'm sure you see shit on the internet all the time of people saying like, oh yeah, all these influencers this, all this entrepreneurs this, bro. Like, of course there's some shady influencers and stuff, and I'm not telling you to be like that. I'm telling you to just fucking post content that's helpful and then sell some kind of like information product, which I know gets like a pretty bad stigma. People think like a course is a scam or something, but again, those are just retards who just don't understand like people are actually willing to pay for education these days, which is an incredible thing. But then when you compare that to the life of business, I wake up at about 4:35, record this video, 30 minutes, 35 minutes. This one video is going to make me more money than my entire month of work back in the day. So can you see two realities right now? Think about 2019 me, the one who wakes up at 7, gets ready like a little fucking dog, puts on his collar and everything, maybe jacks off in the toilet or some shit, gets ready, irons his clothes like a cute little boy, goes, walks outside of the house, it's cold, it's damp, it's raining a little bit, it's kind of depressing, it's still dark, takes a tram, like a public transport, to go into the city next to fucking just crackheads and homeless people and all this bullshit, just dark, grey, depressing, needing to be out in the cold. When you're wearing like professional clothes, like pants and the shoes and stuff, and it's like just feels extra cold in it when you're sat in like the fucking public transport. It's just uncomfortable. You're sat there with your gay ass little music, trying to disassociate, pretending to be like a rapper or some shit like that. Imagine a whole month of me doing that 5 days a week, 12 hours, only paid for 8. Like, you're only paid for the 8 hours you're there, but it's basically a 12-hour whole thing. When you wake up at 7, you come back home at 7, right? This video that I'm recording right now of me bitching about that lifestyle will make me more money than the entire month of me doing that. Can you imagine a month, like just see the timeline or see like flashes in your mind, a month of me living that life? This silly video here where I've literally just pressed record with no script, where I've just yapped, will make me more money. Now, of course, I've already got leverage. This channel's already got like a good few thousand subscribers. I've just started it and stuff, okay, fine. But even if you're a complete beginner to the online game, it's not unrealistic to be making $500, $1,000 in the first year of you just posting a few times a week and literally spending a couple hours a week. Like, there is zero excuses for you to not be posting some kind of content right now, whether it's on Instagram, or if you don't want to be on camera, maybe you start writing some tweets, whatever it is. It's just like showing up to the gym when you're just not really certain, like, you're really going to make gains, you're not sure how it works, but you just show up anyway. It's such an incredible thing. You just get to the equivalent of a few hundred subscribers and you'll start making money, you'll get your first sale. And by the time you're on like 2,000-3,000 subscribers and followers, which you can easily get within a year if you just fucking focus on it, that's like $1,000-$2,000 a month. That's unlocked already the dream life. Anything above that, in my opinion, doesn't actually improve your life quality that much. You can still afford the same things, but now you've got more stress and more kind of social judgment, and you feel like you've got to go spend more money and whatever. But like the first 1 or 2K, bro, it's like you can literally go live the lifestyle that I'm talking about. How awesome is that? Like I'm really trying to inspire you here, and it's fucking amazing of just how much your lifestyle can improve if you just go make that first few thousand, and then you can move out of your parents' home. You don't have to feel like a little weird mommy's boy who when you're on like a date with a girl and it's going well, you think, oh, you know, what can I do? I can't take her back to my place or something. You know, like that's it, bro. Like usually I don't talk too much about money, in the sense like I am off more of the Buddhist mindset of like, yeah, money and materialist desires are kind of stupid. But for this, I wouldn't even call it materialism, because the first few $1,000s you make isn't about buying things or, you know, materials and everything, items, but rather it's about unlocking freedom so that you don't have to go into some shit job. You can look to your parents and say, nope, I already make 1 or 2K a month. I'm not going to go to university because that's fucking retarded. That's what I really wish for you, And that's why I help my students so much in my own online school. Like we talk about everything, not just about like making money and stuff, but just about like life as a young man. It's the links in the description if you are interested. And then another thing I just wanted to finish off with, I've got to shoot off to kickboxing now, but I just wanted to give you a bit more motivation this morning, is dating, sex, and relationships. Because I've mentioned it a few times in this video, and I feel like you've related. Like when you're stuck in that sort of small town mindset and you're still in school in the same hometown, or maybe you've went to work or some shit, you start having really low standards for dating. Most guys do. Like when you stay in your hometown and all you do is kind of look smacks a little bit, whatever, you do start to attract more girls. I'm living proof of that. But those girls are not high quality. They can be pretty, but it's just something weird about like most people where they live. If you're in the UK or EU or US, even when you start to attract more girls, you still don't have a good dating life with them, because you'll often operate the script of what is normal there. And what's normal in those places is feminism and men being weak. And of course you're not going to be weak, but you are going to be more pulled towards that because you're in an environment where that is the norm, where men are bitches. Because of that, the women you meet, even when you have leveled up a little bit, they are very mid in like your hometown. And of course that's weird for me to say because I don't know what your hometown is. But it's just weird because it's also like, I think it's about your own skill and competence too. Because when you move, there's a boost to your social life and your dating life instantly. Because this is how self-improvement works. I think you know this now. We improve, right? This is like actual fact of improvement. But the way that we see ourselves and the way that people see us actually lags behind. This is how it feels like for you, right? This is where we actually are with the actions we've taken recently. Like you're literally a fucking athlete now. But it doesn't completely feel that way. You think those people are athletes. Because it takes our self-image a while to catch up to where we are currently at. There's always a bit of a delay. The same with the perceptions of other people who know us for a while. Imagine if you were like a little fucking loser in high school. Then you get onto self-improvement, you start going to the gym, whatever. It's been 3 months, 6 months, you've been hardcore on this. But people still treat you the same. The same with your parents, right? You used to be a fucking gooner, a little cummer, playing video games, whatever. But it's been like a year, but your parents still largely treat you the same because their perception of you is delayed. But the most important thing is your own perception of yourself is delayed. Now, here's the beautiful thing. When you move somewhere that no one knows you, it instantly catches up. You can be whoever you want as soon as you go somewhere that no one knows you, because then you don't feel like there's a kind of judgment for you to, for example, step in with a bit more of a confident, happy, inspired personality. I remember when I moved to university when I was like 18, 19 years old, I thought to myself like, oh, I'm going to instantly become like more confident. I'm just going to turn it on. I'm going to symbolize more of those alpha traits. And that's exactly what happened. And guess what? Everyone believed it. Why? Because it was basically true. I was already really like that. You know, I had developed so much more confidence and strength within myself. But I felt like people weren't treating me like that when I was in my hometown with my family, with my current friends, even the way that I would see myself, because you're just basically put inside of a box and everyone will treat you as if you are inside of that box. So it's quite difficult for you to crawl out of that box. But when you move somewhere new, there is no box. You basically show people who you are in the first impressions that you make. And so I got to like basically come over to this new place, stand up straight, talk with like a more serious tone, and still have like a good time and stuff, but not act like such a little video gamer little boy as I had been. And people treated me exactly how I wanted when I went to university. Like people just saw me as that guy who had like quite a lot of those like powerful traits. Nothing amazing, nowhere near like what I'm like now, but like at least it was a big boost. And the same thing when I move over to places and when I've traveled. You be whoever the fuck you want to be. And so if you've been improving yourself right now and you've been obsessed with self-improvement and discipline and all these things, but it hasn't changed your life that much, I guarantee it's because you've been keeping yourself in the same box to basically appease the people in your life because they'd feel kind of uncomfortable if you started to act differently. What's the cure to this? Again, it's the exact same life that I'm hyping up. It's the life where you move away from your hometown, you make money online, and you just go to a completely new place, which I suggest, like Thailand, Bali. You're making 1, 2, 3K a month. The moment you take that flight, you stand up straighter being whoever the fuck you want to be. This is what I mean, and my heart goes out to people who are still stuck at home, still stuck in the small town mindset, still stuck because their parents are telling them like, oh no, but we want you to go to university, and the guy who's watching this is like, oh yeah, my parents are like that. And he just hasn't grown a pair of balls enough to look at his parents and tell them no. Like, I can't believe people are living that kind of life, because it's been so long since I was like a slave, that I was like a fucking retard little bitch, that now it's just so foreign to me to be like a slave again, to be, like a slave to my parents, a slave to the education system, a slave to work, where you just have to take orders from a boss. It's been so long that I can't even imagine it anymore. And I know that there's a people who's going to watch this and think, oh, this is cringe. This entrepreneur, influencer guy is a scammer or whatever. But I know the kind of people who've got more than double-digit IQ who I'm aiming towards are going to be finding this inspiring and thinking like, yeah, like actually, I don't really know what real life is. I've never even had complete freedom over my schedule. I've never been able to be the person who I've wanted to be because the script and the box that people have put me in my own hometown, which is very hard to break through because people will constantly treat you like you're still in that box. That's what I want you to get out of. You've made incredible progress. And I wish this life for you. It's just turning 6 a.m. I'm about to go drive my bike over with some nice hype music, go see my kickboxing coach. I'll vlog when I get there. And just the vlog itself, like I get to the gym half an hour early and I just press record on my phone whilst like I talk about life. Just the vlog itself pays for my entire trip here. It pays for everything, including my one-to-one sessions, right? Content and this online business stuff, it can be really fucking amazing if you use it wisely. And I just wish that for you. And when it comes to getting started on YouTube and knowing what kind of videos to post, when it comes to like leaning into the kind of content, like niche, like topics that you should be posting, that's where I would literally personally help you. Like I've helped so many of my own students, not just with, like clickbait shit, like which everyone else would tell you, like I'll teach you how to get more views. One of the things that I'm fucking amazing at, which I do really well for my own students, is I take a look at their YouTube channel, I ask them a bunch of questions, and I know what kind of niche that they should go into, like what kind of topic they should talk about. I've had guys who are just posting random video, one about reducing screen time, the other about reducing sugar, and they're just randomly posting shit, and I'm like, bro, this is your niche. And I tell him and he's like, oh my God, that's perfect. Yeah, I'd love to do that. And then it's like his brain is so clear because now he just focuses on the one topic that I suggested for him. That's one of the tips that I give to people when I can actually personally help them. And that's what you get inside of Adonis School, plus like 50, 100 other things that we have, like the friendships in there. There's so many guys in my school, by the way, who are moving to Bali next year because I've been hyping it up like crazy. So we're gonna have like a good amount of guys moving here, and many of them are literally looking for each other to move in with and, you know, to share like a villa with and stuff. This is what I mean. Like I fucking vouch for it. If you haven't joined Adonis School, if you've never given it a try, it's linked in the description. Just have a look, because if you've watched this entire video and the idea of making a couple thousand a month, moving over to Bali, living with some like masculine guys, and you're all waking up and doing push-ups and shit like that, and coming out to the gym and seeing me there in the kickboxing gym and everything. If the idea of that makes you smile, thinking like, holy shit, that would actually be my dream life, to go live out in this beautiful place, and there's amazing, beautiful girls who walk around and they all journal and meditate and read books and stuff, instead of just fucking scrolling and complaining like the girls back home. If that's like the ideal life for you, we literally teach you how to create it into a reality. We literally teach you that, and you get everything you need to start creating that lifestyle. Plus, also, the guys that you'd actually want to live with, so it feels a little bit less scary to make it happen. We've got guys who go on calls with each other every single day, holding each other accountable, and they're all hyping up like, oh yeah, we're gonna go move to Bali next year, next February, March, whatever. They're gonna come and watch me do my first kickboxing fight, everything like that. It's just such an incredible place for you leveling up in business, but also in your social skills, also in you actually meeting guys that you'd potentially want to live with and travel with, and everything else that you need as a young man. I've put my heart and soul into it. I really, really recommend. Just give Adonis School a try. It's linked in the description. And yeah, if you just join, it just puts your journey on like the fast track, honestly. And you get closer to me, if that means anything to you. If you feel like I'm someone who's like wise enough and stuff like that, like you end up getting into discussions, you get advice and everything like that. So yeah, thank you for watching. Goodbye.